Hello, everyone. I'm really happy to see you here today, and I can see in our chat box that we've already had like so many countries here. Peru, thanks for joining us. Morocco, thanks for joining us. Georgia, I can see Miss Patricia here from Argentina. Thanks a lot for joining us. And Pakistan, thanks a lot. And you know what? Just this is the first time when everything is just vice versa. So actually, I have to give the floor to Miss Tamar Delitzen.
Okay, good evening, good afternoon, maybe good morning. My colleagues, your friends from different countries of the world, as we see, many countries are represented, our friends, already familiar faces. It's my pleasure and again honor for me to be presenting today colleague of mine, like devoted teacher, passionate educator, at the same time friend of mine. So Eva Tatarova, and today she's going to present actually very of this nice topic, which is very close to my research interest. And you know what is the topic about? It's about strengthening the bond among our learners and maybe teachers. So we are really excited to learn what she's going to deliver to us. So Eva, I really would like to wish you good luck with your very important experience in your life, and I'm sure you will be best. Yes.
Okay, thanks a lot, Tamar. Thanks a lot for all your kind words. And actually, yes, the topic for today is, I would say, maybe for you it was just a bit strange to see such topic, but I really believe that it will be beneficial for you to listen to this information, and also I hope that you'll be able to participate in several activities actively. Yeah, definitely. I'd like to ask you to be active in the chat box because I'm going to ask you several questions just for you to dive into this topic. And this topic means a lot to me just because I had to go through all these problems, which I'm going to share today. And definitely, I'd like to know your feedback. Okay, Tamar, thanks for presenting me. And I think just we should.
Of course, yours, and I'm all ears. I like it. It's supporting you.
Yeah, thank you. So, yeah, definitely, it's a bit challenging for me because today I will have just to host myself. I'm presenting, hosting, just looking at all the comments in the chat box, like turning the pages on the slide. But I promise I will do my best today. So this is the topic. And actually, as usual, we are teachers and we know what we do from the very beginning. And the first thing for me is like to activate your prior knowledge, right? So the question is, when you see this word culture, let me know what comes to your mind. Just any word. It can be adjective, noun, verb, anything. So what it means, culture. Because for us, it can be just a bit like an abstract word. So I'm really curious to know your thoughts. Yeah, thanks a lot for joining us. Yeah, thank you, Georgia. Thank you, Ukraine. I can see. Yeah, Pinar, thank you, Turkey. Okay, so I can see the first ideas like identity, which is really nice. Thank you, Pinar. We have variety, perfect. That's great. Heritage, super. And, as soon as I started doing my, let's say, small research on culture, I found out that culture can be divided into two parts. So in culture, we have big C culture and little c culture. And actually, if we go further, I think that you have your ideas on big C culture, which means sometimes we can call it like MLA, great music, literature, and art. Actually, it's what we have in our classrooms, and lots of course books contain that information. As usual, we work with different kind of paintings and so on and so forth. But what do you think? Latavadze, thank you for your idea about values. Right, but what do you think about little c culture? What might it be? And thanks for this comment. So we have like a big culture. It's interesting that we can divide culture into two parts: big C culture, great music, literature, and art. And at the same time, we have little C culture. What's that? And we do need culture in our lives. Actually, everything is about culture, because even our language, it's not only about lexis and grammar, right? And about skills like listening, reading, writing, and speaking. Everything is like framed in that culture. So Tamar said that it can be communication. Okay, so let's go further about little C culture, what we have here. And that was the starting point for me, because as soon as I saw this idea, like little C culture means beliefs, behavior, and values. Thank you, Latavadze, for this idea. Yep, I realized that we should bring not only music, literature, and art into our classrooms, but also beliefs, behavior, and values. And for me, it really means a lot. The next thing is that, as far as maybe you know, that I work a lot on CLIL, and I do deliver courses like a teacher knowledge test, CLIL and live preparation course. And there in CLIL, we have 4 C's, and please don't confuse them with those soft skills C's. I mean those: communication, collaboration, critical thinking, and creativity. So if you know what those 4 C's in CLIL mean, just let me know here in comments, because they're like the fundamental things for us when we plan lessons in CLIL. By the way, CLIL stands for Content and Language Integrated Learning, where we teach new concepts through English language in our case, or it can be just any language. So if you know, Miss Anastasia, thanks for joining us. So if you know, CLIL has 4 C's. Can you name those 4 C's? The first one, C, definitely, yeah, we know CLIL is Content and Language Integrated Learning. So actually you can like understand and guess which C is the first one. So Content and Language Integrated Learning. The first C is definitely like obvious, is content. What else do we cover in CLIL lessons? Culture, definitely. Thank you. Definitely culture as well. So I'd like to share these CLIL ideas. So what we have in CLIL lessons. When we plan our lessons, we always pay attention. Yes, Ms. Irina Zirka, thanks a lot. We always pay attention to content, communication, cognition, and culture. Again, culture. And culture is really crucial for these lessons. As soon as you try CLIL lessons, you will fall in love with them, I'm pretty sure. So you see, again and again, we are talking about culture. And if we go further, you can see that I decided to include this book, Uncovering CLIL. And if you read this book, you can find at page 31, as you can see. You can find that these 4 C's are really important for us to plan lessons in order to have successful outcomes. So if we go further, what does it mean, culture, even in CLIL context? Yeah, content is included. So the authors of this book, they say, like, when we want to care about culture or community or citizenship, because that C can be represented in several ways, we should care about our students. Like, as you can see, the first line, students feel that being members of a learning community is enriching. And that means a lot. Just, I'm pretty sure that all of us teachers who work in real classrooms, we face those problems when our students, they do know vocabulary, they know grammar, they have good skills, but then they don't speak. So what's going on? What's the problem? Why they don't speak? And as soon as it happened in my classroom, I decided just to observe my students. And I realized that they had problems with communication, not only in English lessons. It happened just outside the classroom as well. And then I saw this idea. Students should feel like members of learning community, and they should feel that being members is really enriching. Thank you, Akbar. Thank you, Elmira. Thank you, Nelly. And yes, and you can look through all the points here. Yeah, I'd like to highlight this is really important for us teachers to remember that our students should feel that being members of the learning community is enriching. And then you can see that who are those characters who play main roles in that culture, citizenship, and community. So teachers, students, and actually parents as well. And the last line is really important as well because you can see that students can define their role within the classroom, the local and global context. So if we go further, and when I faced that problem with my students, they simply didn't communicate at all. Yet they had everything, believe me. I created word banks. I created glossaries. I gave them sentence starters. I supported them at word level and sentence level, provided them that support. But unfortunately, magic didn't happen. So I had to dive deeper into this idea. And that line I showed you before, like students feel that being members of a learning community is enriching. I decided to to learn more about it. So what it means, actually, what we lack is open-mindedness in this case, task performance, because students should be conscientious about it, emotional regulation. Yeah, let's admit that sometimes even in our real life, we should regulate our emotions in order to start to communicate with someone, even using L1. Engaging with others, how to do that, how to engage with others. I'm pretty sure you saw that students, they're ready to start agreeing and disagreeing. They know how to do it, but they can't. And we teachers, we can't say no. We can't say no to all those requests we have. So, and then collaboration, actually. And this is where my research started. So we go further. You can see just, fortunately, somehow, I'm a big fan of this web page, OECD, and if you go there, you can download this piece of reading just for free. So they say that exactly these problems should be covered in our classrooms. And you can see like open-mindedness means openness to experience. Task performance, as I said, conscientiousness, emotional regulation or emotional stability, extroversion. Yeah, again, let's admit the idea that after the pandemic or during the pandemic, as you wish, we had to go online. Even if we tried to do our best to include our students into classrooms, they still stayed at their homes, in their flats. They still were like in those screens, but in reality, they were alone. So that was some kind of shift to introversion, but not extroversion. So we should work more on it. And agreeableness, like collaboration. And I decided to include this idea, which is given in this piece of writing. Those 4 C's, 4 soft skills, which are really popular now again and again: collaboration, critical thinking, communication. But it was a bit abstract for me. So I wanted to have just that vision, how I can incorporate everything into my lessons. And this was such a big help for me to understand, to have that big picture. So in this piece of reading, you can find they offer us to look at this idea from the perspective of the big 5 domains. I know that you can't see it clearly, so I decided to put it on this slide in this way. As you can see, these big 5 domains, we have task performance, emotional regulations, collaboration, open-mindedness, engagement with others, and compound skills. So pay attention that we have those 4 skills included in this big picture. So we have cooperation as a part of collaboration. We have creativity as a part of open-mindedness, definitely. And we have critical thinking, like compound skill. And definitely everything covers communication. Yeah. And that was the moment when I realized that I was walking towards the right target, let's say. And now we're going to start working on practical part of it. So actually what I did and what helped me succeed in my classrooms. Look at this picture. I'm not sure whether you know this person or not, but if you know, just let me know in the chat box actually what or whom you can see in the picture. And then I will let you know why I decided to put this picture. Because as soon as I got to know about it, and this is my hint, I was so impressed. And again, it was a sign that I was moving towards the right direction. So please let me know. Who's that? Can you see here? Yeah, I'm waiting for your comments. It's just for you to see it better. Yeah, I'm still waiting. I know that we have like time effective domain. Yep, it's true, Miss Nelly. So with that, whom can you see in this picture? I hope you can see it clearly. And again, because I use this word it, this is like my hint. Pinar. So Pinar said that it can be a robot. Okay. A girl robot. No, Mr. Akbar, it's not me. Fortunately, unfortunately, I don't know. Who knows? Intrigue, definitely. And looks like a show presenter. Thank you. Again, the idea that it may be a robot. Okay, let me show you. So, yep, you're right. This is that robot. Probably you've heard about her before. Sofie, actually, she even got the citizenship in Saudi Arabia, as far as I remember. When I got to know about this robot, Sofie, and I was really impressed with all those interviews she gave to different mass media, because it was the representation of artificial intelligence. Yep, Miss Katerina, true, Sofia robot. Yeah, and this is the question again, as you can see those crosses. So this robot is capable of displaying more than, and then you should just put the numbers, different emotions. Again, I should remind you, we're talking about robot. Yeah, she has a name, Sophia. But how many emotions can she display? Or could, because I think this project was shut down. I don't remember. I don't know for sure. It was like maybe 4-5 years ago. A model. No, she's not a model. Yeah, if you go on YouTube and search for different videos with Sophia, I'm pretty sure you'll be impressed with the way how she behaves, how she answers the questions. So how many emotions this robot can display? 30, we have 20. Okay, 20. And I think that you'll be surprised. She's capable of displaying more than 60 different emotions. And now this is the question. The question I asked myself, Eva, can you actually name 60 different emotions? So since I couldn't, I couldn't. I don't know, for that moment, I didn't know 60 different emotions. I realized that my self-awareness was not that perfect, because I couldn't name them. And what about our students? How can we identify, and you remember those ideas about emotional regulation. So how can we identify something if we don't know even the names of those emotions? And she beat it even me, Miss Elmira, yep. And another impressive thing, but that's Sophia. So actually she had a Twitter, and once in August 2018, she tweeted, like, one of my favorite hobbies is watching human faces and trying to figure out what they're feeling. And it impressed me a lot as well. So what I was doing, I was walking along the streets, trying to identify what people were feeling at that moment. It was really interesting because again and again, I couldn't go further. I had like maybe a set of 30 emotions, not more. I didn't have that list. So that was the reason, another reason for me to dive into this topic. Yeah. And that was the moment when I decided to bring this ideas of emotions into my classrooms. So the first activity which I proposed to my students to do, just to look through at all the emotions through the prism of 4 basic categories. Actually, I found this activity, as you can see in this book, and you will get the references as well. So we had 4 basic categories like mad, sad, glad, and scared. And the activity was, I give them the list of emotions. This is not the complete list of emotions. And yeah, and if you can do it, please do it in the chat box. You can see mad words, scared words, glad words, and sad words. So please try to find the words, to pick the words which can go to the category of glad words. Just only glad words. Which glad words you can see here. You can type like 2 or 3 glad words. Yeah. Why I like this type of activity, because actually, as I told you before, in CLIL, we always care not only about culture, but also about content, about cognition. It means that what students should do here, they should understand and sort the emotions. So actually this way I can check comprehension. Again, we are talking about language as well. Excited, true. Positive emotions, right. Excited, we have excited, satisfied, right. So actually angry is not glad words, abandoned also is not about glad words, joyful, true, thank you, amused, right, thanks a lot, delighted, excited, happy. Yep, you're right. And then I told my students, and maybe it's some kind of part of personalizing the idea, that the list which I'm going to present, the list which you will see now, is for, let's say, B2 level. It's not about young learners, but I will show you what I did with my young learners as well concerning this topic. So I told them that the list isn't all inclusive, because if you can't see anything that relates to what you're feeling now, you can create your own one. That's okay. The main idea for me and for you, just to identify your feelings and emotions in order to regulate them further later on. So happy, that's true. So this is the list of those 4 categories, as you can see. Yeah, you can find the correct answers in the column of glad words, and we have even more. So if you count, you can see how many we have here. That's really nice. And actually, students, they're really creative because they can add a lot of things. They are really creative. The next idea, I told you that with my younger learners, I also decided to implement this idea, like we should identify what we feel. And yeah, as you can see what I proposed them to do. Actually, the activity is you give your students a set of cards. Definitely you can choose any topic you wish, any topic you need. If you're working on vocabulary concerning like school objects, please feel free to use school objects. But the main idea that students, they're in a circle, in a group, they should pick one object or 2 objects, like cards, pictures, whatever. It's up to you what you wish to use here. Even if you don't have those pictures, you can ask your students to draw. Just before doing this activity, they can draw school objects. And then definitely, if we're talking about young learners, we should give them like that language, that sentence level support. So I gave them the support, like I choose the picture of the chair because I'm tired. So they had the model. So what they should do, they should pick the picture and explain why. Again, we are talking about cognition here as well. So if you'd like to try, you can write, you can type in the chat box what would you like to choose here? I chose the picture of the, I don't know, whiteboard, the scissors, or maybe pencils, because I'm definitely students can't do it like on scratch, and you should prepare them. You can work out different ideas, you can brainstorm what it can mean actually. If we choose a chair, what it means. If we choose scissors, what it means. So as soon as they are ready, then you give them the chance to express themselves and to explain to you, not only to you, but to other peers, what they feel in the classroom. And as soon as young learners realize that it's really important that they can feel something and they can be understood, and actually they understand that other peers, they can feel something, and sometimes they can be shy, they can be tired, they can be embarrassed, they can feel sad. That gives a lot for that atmosphere that we create in our classrooms. Yep. So if scissors, I can see scissors by then KC. So what does it mean for you? I chose the picture of the scissors just because I would say just because I'm so angry and I'm ready to cut out everything. Yeah, just whatsoever. It depends on you and your students. Yeah, true. Patricia, thanks a lot for your comment. That's true. They can unleash their emotions here. And it's really important because you as a teacher can show them, I'm standing by you here and now. I'm feeling you. I know what you feel right now, especially when it's about collaboration and working in groups. So this activity, it allowed me to create some kind of bond in that group of students. Yep. Let's go further. Again, if we're talking about emotions, definitely in our modern world, our students, they stick to all those social media. Yes, they're not so active on Facebook, but anyway, as you can see here, I sometimes, if you go on Facebook, if you start posting, and the first idea what you can see, like Facebook offers you, please choose how you are feeling today, and you can choose among all those emotions. The words are pretty easy, and you can bring those emotions into your classrooms, even those emojis. And what we do, it's not only about how I feel. Actually, we can do it as a comprehension activity. After reading the text, I can ask my students, just simply by using those emojis, because they know what they mean, to explain to other students what the main character felt while that story, I don't know, or maybe what were your emotions when you were reading this story. So again and again, I can use these emojis. Yep. Sorry. So why I'm talking about emotions? We know that all the emotions, they actually drive us into something else. So as usual, when we feel something, we are ready to act somehow. Yeah, it can be active or passive, but anyway, it means that we can act after that. And you can see that fear can motivate us to get away. Yeah, joy and happiness, it's about joining in. Sadness can motivate us to withdraw, and embarrassment, which our students sometimes feel in our classrooms, can motivate us to hide, just to stop speaking. So I wanted my students to know that what you feel, just connected to how you act. You should be self-aware in this case. And if we go further, another activity for me to do, and I do hope that it will be really useful for you as well. Yeah, you can see like we have sadness, and it can motivate us to hide away from others, to isolate ourselves. That happens to everyone, not only to our students, but to ourselves as well. And we tried to find out just the opposite reaction or the opposite action we can do in this case. So you can see just in terms of sadness, reach out to others, maybe to overcome something and to reach out to others, to talk to someone. If it's about anxiety, which I can face just a lot of anxiety in my classrooms nowadays, I ask them just to approach the anxiety-provoking situation or person so we can discuss it. And the question is, as you can see, anger. So it can motivate us what? And what kind of opposite action can be here? So as soon as you feel that anger, it can motivate us. And that was really important. While you're thinking and typing, I would be really happy to see your ideas, because at this point, you're like my students. And I should tell you that even working on anger, it was really beneficial, because my students really, it wasn't like a magic wand, no. But anyway, my students realized the connection between their behavior and their feelings. And yeah, I still can see the comments. I'm waiting. So, and when we decided to create that line between what it means when you feel anger, what it motivates us to do, and what kind of opposite action they can take, it helped them to improve their behavior, and it helped them to understand each other. It's not about language, it's about that collaboration. How can we change our negative anxiety? Okay, we'll discuss it, Azra, later. So, concerning anger, that's true. It can motivate us to attack verbally or physically. We know that we face those problems with bullying. And as soon as my students realize that sometimes being angry means that you can attack someone even verbally, so they knew that connection. As soon as they feel that anger, they know that it provokes them, let's say, to act in the wrong way. But at the same time, they know the opposite action, be respectful. So it's like the connection in their minds. Okay, first, I can identify this is anger. Okay, what I want to do to attack someone, and what I can do actually, I should be respectful in this case. So it helped a lot. And I do hope if you like this activity, you can do it with your students. Yeah. And the next step was to look through the situations which we can have in our classrooms. Yeah, if you're working with low-level students, you should create those situations by yourself. So here's the situation. I should give a presentation at school, one for which I was preparing for 5 days. Just real situation. Emotion they have, I feel very ashamed to present. And then they know, like, we have that emotion, I feel ashamed. And it can motivate us to withdraw ourselves. So what kind of emotional urge here? I'm not ready. So I'm ready to give up just in order not to present in front of my peers. That was the idea. And knowing about how they can act the opposite way helped lots of students in this case. So we created those situations, we worked on them, we identified emotions, and we identified emotional urges. And after that, we created how we can act the opposite way. So again and again, it's about some kind of connection in their mind. They know, as soon as I feel like this, probably it pushes me to act this way, but actually I know that the opposite way is this way. So it was even like a game for us to identify. If we have anger, it means I'm ready to attack someone. What should I do in this case? Be respectful. It helped. So you can create lots of situations, and you can discuss them with your students again and again. It's about speaking, it's about communication, and it's about collaboration. But while discussing those topics, students feel more relaxed, and students feel like they can trust you and they can trust their peers, because like we are in the same boat at that moment. So topics to discuss, if you'd like to just share these topics, they are all about social emotional learning as well. So we're going to discuss the topic of knowing your values just in a moment. Yeah, thank you, Miss Nelly. You can use them as an option of formative assessment. That's true. Thanks a lot. Learner's feeling is just as vital as water. Thanks, Iqbar. You're right. Actually, it's the fundamental part of our lesson. Yeah, we always repeat the same. I don't want to call it like a buzzword, but we always say just rapport. We should establish that rapport in our classrooms. And that rapport is not only between our students and a teacher. we should create that atmosphere where learners can trust us and they can trust each other. So these activities, they really, really help me, and I hope if you like them, they will help you in your classrooms. Okay, and this activity was trying because here you will see that we're still working on language, we're still working on communication, we're still working on speaking. So what actually you should do in this case? First, you should create groups of 8 students, but please do not worry if you don't have 8 students in your classrooms. That okay. The groups can be like, you can have like a group of 4 students. That's okay, because later on they're going to work with cards, and you have just 8 cards. In case if you have groups of 4, it means that one student should work with 2 cards in turn. So what you do, you split your students into groups or teams of 8, and then you offer them a topic to discuss. As usual, it should be something they should work on, they should create. Like in this case, I offer you can create a list of closest places to eat and rank them by quality. So actually they have their communicative purpose just to talk to each other. Or the easiest way to do, you can give them that well-known activity, the Desert Island Game. Yep. Just what's that? So just I don't know what's going on. So the Desert Island Game. You know, you ask your students to discuss, create a list of items you'd like to take with you to that island, or you can propose them to have the list and to rank what they need, or just to come out with the idea that they should bring just only 3 things from those that you offered. Anything where students have to collaborate, where students have to decide and come up with one idea for all of them. So you do remember that we have 8 students in a group or 4 students in a group. So what's the next point? What you do here? So you split the class, you ask them to start talking, they have the task, they know what they should do. And by the way, I haven't specified that here, but please give them time limit. They should know that they have that time limit. So it depends on what kind of a task they should do. And exactly at the same moment, you provide your students with a stack of behavior cards. This is really crucial, because that activity is just as usual what we always have, like pyramid discussion, or they can just create that list that's just quite familiar. And you explain that the first minute they discuss everything without any interruptions. So they start working on the list of ideas. And as soon as the first minute finishes, you ask your student number 1, and you should know that this student is number 1, and students actually also should know about that. Student number 1, number 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, or just 4 students, it depends. You set a timer, and student number 1 picks the first behavior card. And this student should act according to what is written there in that behavior card for 30 minutes. Yeah, in this case, you should not only observe, but you should care about the timer as well. So as soon as the first 30 seconds finish, you should ask student number 2 to pick another card, behavior card. So actually, what's going on? So here are the cards. Here are the behavior cards. I hope you will like this idea, just for students to feel how it sometimes happens in our classroom. So can you imagine, well, that discussion, the first student picks the card, and he says there, like, interrupt each time someone speaks. So for 30 seconds, his job is to interrupt other speakers. So while others are trying to contribute, just while others are trying to share their ideas. So 30 seconds are over. It means student number 2, who doesn't know what's there in that card, picks another card, and you can see, tell the next person to talk that their idea is silly. Yeah, it can be anything. Like, you know, I don't like it. I think that it doesn't matter. Just what are you talking about? So 30 seconds of interruption and saying, like, yeah, saying that your ideas are not good. So can you imagine what's going on there? But anyway, before the activity, I told my students, yeah, it will be quite challenging for you, but you should overcome all the obstacles and you should come up with the real ideas which I asked you to create. So please be attentive to everyone. Or you can see, put your feet up on the table or check your smartphone, sorry for the typo, and act bored. What happens in our classrooms. Like, we pick smartphones, we start scrolling social media, and actually what other speakers can feel at that moment. So this is the way for students to feel how it happens in real life. Or tell everyone in the group that you don't care, this is stupid, and try to get others to quit. Like, can you imagine that a group of students, they're working together and someone starts saying, like, guys, let's stop doing this thing. I think just it's silly, it's just boring, let's stop doing. But students know that they will have lots of challenges throughout these ways while they are doing this activity. And look at this, this is the last one, the negative card. When the students, he picks the card and he says, like, he should go or they should go out for 15 seconds and come back without saying what's going on. Definitely, all the students who are working on that activity, trying to contribute to the list of things we ask them to do, they will stop, like, thinking what's going on, why he stood up and went out, when will he return, when will he come back. But again and again, as a teacher, you remind them, just please stick to the point and work on your ideas. And we have 3 positive cards, like offer to take it on, or offer to write down the ideas, give positive feedback, and tell the next person who talks that he has a good idea, just for students to compare how you feel while doing this activity when others can behave in this way. Yeah, building authenticity in the classroom. Thanks. So this is the idea of the activity. And actually, yes, what you can do after that, apart from giving feedback on their list of things they created, you can ask your students, how did you react to good behaviors versus bad ones? Yeah, and was the group more or less productive? And when actually it was productive, definitely when they had positive behavior. You can ask about feelings as well. How did you feel? What were your feelings when someone stood up and went out? This way, students start understanding that they should behave properly. They should support each other, because they can feel that when someone gave positive feedback, after that they felt really nice. So they start to react, they start working together. Yeah, a good way to trigger the appetite for collaboration. Yep, true. Because, they took it as a challenge. They did not take it like, I don't know, like very serious task. They know that at this moment everyone is performing, because they pick the card and they read what they should do there. Yeah, they do enjoy this activity. Another thing I told you about values, for me, it's really crucial. So as soon as we know about feelings, as soon as we know how to behave, as soon as we feel some kind of connectedness in our classrooms, I offer my students to work on values. We have so many values in our lives. And this is important for me to remind my students that life, it happened to me. Like in my school, in my school times, yeah, we had wonderful lessons and wonderful teachers. But I feel like I'd like to have something. I'd like those teachers to tell me more about values, really. So sometimes we do this activity. Probably this web page, as you can see the link here. This web page, I would say, is for higher level students. So I ask my students to research and identify no more than, and then it's up to you, 5 or 3 quotations that address their concepts of life, or that can describe their values. You can narrow down the topic, or you can say just feel free to express what you think is really valuable for you. That that web page is really difficult. I mean, there you will find different quotes written by well-known authors, and language is, let's say, difficult, not for all levels. So as an alternative, what I can offer, probably all of you, you know, this Goodreads web page. I adore it. I'm there all the time. So you can ask your students to do the same. So if you go to Goodreads, you will find the section with quotes. And what students can do, they type in the search box what kind of value they'd like to learn about. So they can type something like kindness, and then they will find out so many quotes written by different famous people or by different authors. You can find not only that big C culture I told you, yeah, there could be like politicians, and I found out several quotes written by Michelle Obama from her book Becoming, which are really precious. So we work on those quotes, and students after that, they can express themselves and they can share why this particular quote is really important to them. Again and again, it's about that special atmosphere, trust, and the idea of being able to express themselves. So with the help of such quotes, we can do it. Because sometimes we can't even find the particular words to express ourselves. And such quotes, they can first help us express ourselves, and second, maybe to shape our mind a bit. Well, as you can see here, you can create your own list of quotes. Because sometimes we don't have the access to internet connection, or you don't want your students to go and search there because it can take like lots of time. So you can narrow down a bit, and I do have my list of quotes. So how I organized it, I have list of values. As you can see, I have 28 values here, and for each value I have several quotes. Yeah, definitely these quotes seem to be like important to me, but anyway. So first, how I can work, I can give all the values and all the quotes to my students, and they can find what really means a lot to them. But actually sometimes I can give them just only kindness, and they can pick one which resonates, or they can pick something from what do we have, from respect, and they can share why it's really important. Yeah, and I should tell you that those who registered for this webinar, after this webinar, I will send the link to this recording, and I will add this list of values as well as all those quotes. And if you'd like to, you can share on your social media which quote impressed you a lot, and please don't forget to tag me, because for me it's really interesting to know. Yeah, a chance to speak out. That is true, a chance to speak out, because again and again our students, sometimes they can't shape their mind, they can't express themselves, but as soon as they see the quote, they say, yeah, this is about me, this is what I appreciate in this life, and I'd like to share this value with my peers as well. And the moment when those groups of 4 or 3 start sharing their values, their quotes, because here you will find, I'm not sure, but more, approximately like 100 or maybe even more quotes. As soon as they start sharing those values, it's just another level of connection. It's another level of support. It's another level of understanding in groups. And even in terms of English, you can see that they start speaking in a free way. They trust each other because they trust their values. They share their values. Yeah. The next point, yeah, what you should do, put students into groups of 4, and then you work on it. You have those debrief questions like, how can a quotation help us stay on track? Yes, sometimes it helps. All of us know about it. Yeah, and again, so we know that we can work on values. We know that sometimes those values and quotation that students give me, they're not only about what they treasure, what reflects their inner world. Also, sometimes it happens that they say it's about my purpose, my goals, it's about what I'd like to achieve in my life. So it helps me stay on track, as I said before. Then we worked on this activity. That was really nice, quite easy. But anyway, I offer you to try it. So we have our yets. So actually, we work on I can't, blah, 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 yet. So I can't find the time to work out yet. If you can, just write down what are your yets. I can't find the time to work out yet. As for me, just I can't find the time to sleep normally yet. But anyway, I can't find something, I can't do something yet. This is really important. So we add that yet all the time. And students, they create the list of those yets. And you work on I can't. Yeah, the power of yes. Thanks, Patricia. That's true. That's true. So let's look at this one. Like ideas. What ideas we have? I can't find the time to work out yet. I can't do 15 push-ups without stopping yet. I can't stop snacking at night yet. It's about me, to be honest. So, and I always highlight, like, my dear students, now we should transform this yet with I can't and yet into goals. But goals should be first action-oriented and second trackable. So actually you should transform into something which is action-oriented. So what you are going to do in order to change those yet, as Miss Patricia said, the power of yet, you should create your goals. So what do we have here? Yes, yet. Yeah, this power of yes is related to a growth mindset. That's true. That what is my this presentation is exactly about growing mindset. So as you can see the idea, I can't find the time to work out yet. How we can arrange action-oriented and trackable goals. I will, again, we practice our grammar. I will work out on Tuesdays and Fridays mornings. Yep, action-oriented, because I will work out. This is the first part. Trackable, one, on Tuesday and Friday mornings. So you can think about what you can write concerning I can't do 15 push-ups without stopping yet. Yeah, that's true, Nelly. They might find quotes according to the target words they have. That's a great idea. Yep. A creative words, it's a joker. Okay. So I'm so sorry that I can't bring your comments on the screen because I'm into this presentation and sometimes I just, yeah, Akbar, I can see your comment. And yes, let's say I can't stop snacking at night yet. I told you it's about me. So what can I do in this case? How can I transform those yets into my goals? What can be done? And for students, it's really beneficial to have those goals because they don't know how to set the goals. So you can see, I will stay out of the kitchen after 9 p.m. Yeah, it may sound a bit childish, but anyway, this is an example how we can how we can create goals which are action-oriented and trackable. So this is what we do with my students. Even the beginning of the lesson, we can say just, the topic is like this, and they say, I still don't know vocabulary, I don't know vocabulary yet, but I will blah, blah, blah. I will do this, I will do that. Action-oriented and trackable. Okay. I will drink water instead of eating at night. Miss Nadia, thanks a lot. Thanks a lot. I'm trying to do that. Every day I try to do that. Yeah. Okay. And yeah, this is not the end because as usual, we know we have our yets, we have our goals, but somehow we have, even in our teaching, we have a rewarding system. So I ask my students, just please, somewhere there next to your goals, write down what you will do as soon as you achieve that. So write down a few rewards you can give yourself for making and working on each of your goals. And this is the most pleasant moment for my students. So somehow it works. Again, they can look into the future, they have those goals, and they know what they will get after that. I will survive, okay. And this activity, it seems to be like the easiest one, but my students liked it a lot, and sometimes we do it. It's not only about this topic which I'm going to present, it's like an example, but the first idea here is you create groups of students. You choose someone as a secretary, someone who can write rather fast, who can write down the ideas. So, and you ask your students, and you give, it depends on you, it's up to you. You can give 10 or 20 pieces of paper, it depends on you how you'd like it to be. So you give them, let's say, 10 pieces of paper, and you ask them to brainstorm anything that comes to their mind when they think about school. So, yeah, you highlight that it can be something like objects, it can be something about emotions, it can be something like verbs. It's up to students to brainstorm all the vocabulary concerning school in this case, but you can do just anything you wish. And after that, I gave you here an example, like it can be notebooks, homework, a waste paper basket, or it can be cheating. I had that idea in my classroom, like cheating, yeah, snacking, lesson. I had boring, exciting, so many things. And after that, the secretaries, they should write down all the ideas on separate pieces of paper. So if you have 10, so you have 10 ideas. And after that, what do you do? When those secretaries, when the groups are ready with 10 or 20 items, 20 pieces, 20 terms, you ask them to use their desk, the floor, let's say, and create and to furnish their classroom. So they should use those pieces of paper as, imagine that it's some kind of furniture or whatsoever in the classroom. So what they do, they have like those ideas like tables, bookcases, board, maybe chairs. It's up to your students. And the interesting thing here to see how they arrange everything. Because after that, you can ask why you decided to use that boring word or cheating, how you actually created groups, or why you put it in front of the classroom, or why you decided to use it as a board, let's say. So it's interesting to listen to our students and to their ideas. Yeah, I hope you will like it. So you can use it for anything, not only for classroom, not only for school. They can furniture design something with the help of this brainstorming activity and then putting everything. Because as soon as they start communicating in groups, they have to justify why they put this piece of paper with this particular word in front, or maybe they'd like to put it somewhere in the corner of this classroom. Yeah. So, as usual, it takes them like 15-30 minutes to arrange everything, to design their classroom. And then, as I said before, they can explain why they... by the way, this is very important. Let's say that you have 20 pieces of paper. And while designing the classroom, students do not need 20 pieces of paper. So you can tell them, just feel free to throw away what you think is not needed. And again, this is where discussion starts. You can see that your students, they try to identify what is really important, because all the pieces of paper, they are just identical. So they're trying to identify what they need, what they don't need, and then they put it into that plan of the classroom. Yes. And this is almost the last thing for today. I use this target a lot. We use it in CLIL classrooms a lot because we started with the culture and we are still in that culture. This target, as you can see in the middle, we have teaching, but actually you can put any topic in the middle of this target. So, and students, it's just for you to think about. But for students, it's the way how they can think, how this topic relates to students, how it relates to their town. Then we go to my country and the world. And why I decided to use this teaching idea, just in case when sometimes you can feel like less motivated, or you feel like, I need more energy. You can use this activity. You can look at this target and you can think like, my teaching, what it means to me, for my town, and you will realize how much you've already done, how it influenced my country, because how many creative minds you've already created, let's say, for my country and for this world. So, and you can put any topic in the middle, but think about your teaching, how important you are, how important, what kind of culture you bring into your classroom. This is almost the end. Yeah, as I've mentioned before, culture is the important part of content and language integrated learning. And those who are interested in knowing more and in being prepared to the teaching knowledge test by Cambridge, CLIL, Content and Language Integrated Learning, I'd like to invite you to join my course, which will start on December 16. You can see here there were some videos from previous sessions because the course is completely online. Yeah, I'll be more than happy. Just please contact me or start teaching and learning. And here's the list of resources I used. So in order to create this presentation, how much I've done so far, and I hope that somehow it was useful for you. Tamar?
Yes, thank you, Eva. It was really just very, very just informative, highly productive webinar, and lots of ideas. I'm sure the chat is full now with lots of ideas, comments, and I'm sure colleagues of ours definitely will integrate and implement those ideas into teaching practice. And because I really think that bonding and connections is really what we actually should never stop doing, even during the pandemic, and when we are back to normal. This is some kind of our, now to say, obligation, moral obligation, to create this bonding. And of course, such kind of activities, variety of tools really are helpful. And of course, it's always good to be exposed to new ideas. And thank you for this a pool of ideas and for food for thought. And of course, ready-made activities. Yes.
Thank you. I hope it will be useful for other teachers. Thank you. Wonderful. Thank you. Akbar, thank you. Yep, so this is the end, and I have to say, love you and leave you, and I do hope to see you, some of you, during my course in a week. So thanks a lot. Thank you for participating. Thank you for sharing your experience. Thank you, Patricia. Thank you, Tamtam. Thank you, Pinar. Thank you, Elmira. Thank you. So, okay, have a wonderful evening. Bye-bye. See you.